Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. There are those who would continue to say, why is Kryon here? There has to be a reason. There is. The reason is because Spirit, that which is you call the Creator, that which is responsible for your soul, loves you dearly. And so there are messengers that have been sent for eons at times of change on this planet. Especially in times where humanity was involved and needed to know what was going to happen, or perhaps have an alert so that they would not be shocked or surprised or worried. Scripture is filled with this, angels who appear. And in that which they appear, they always say to the humans, don't fear me. Don't fear the message, for I'm here with good news. This epitomizes the love that God has for you, for the souls that you exist in. Apart from anything you've been taught or told, there is grand, grand love for you. Beautiful love. You have elected by choice to be born in a time of change. And this is massive change. It's change on all scales of almost every subject that you can think of. The indigenous will tell you very clearly about the cycles of life, about the cycles of earth, about the cycles of time, about the cycles of consciousness. They are aware and have always been aware that things happen in cycles. But when those cycles are done and others then begin, there is change. And the change is almost always upsetting to a human being. Depending upon how you see your life is how humans view change. There are some who will see change and say, well, it's about time. I love those things which are happening because it means I have an opportunity here to change things that need changing in my life, and on they go. But that's only a few, really. Mostly those are old souls who have come prepared for the change. But there are many old souls who say they've come prepared for the change, but they are a product of programming. And the programming says that change means trouble. The ones that especially are affected are the ones that see change and pull it to themselves. They'll see something that has happened and they'll say, then why is it happening? I must have done something wrong. Even those who see that which is the weather cycle, which we have talked about now for decades. The change is upon you. We said it was coming, now it's here. So you had forewarning of a cycle. There are cycles within cycles, many cycles. When it comes to Gaia, the weather, and all these things, you knew it was coming. And that there are those who are assembling and praying to God, asking God, saying, what have we done wrong to create such a thing? Never understanding that such a thing is normal. Change is upon this planet in so many ways. The energy of the consciousness around you is starting to change. We have spoken, again, about the weather. It's so interesting now how even historians are starting to change their minds on some of the mysteries of the past. One of them, not really that far away from here, In what you call Bandelier National Monument, there's a place called Chaco Canyon. And in that place, for 400 years, lived an ancient people, which are called the Anasazi ancient people. And when you go there, there has always been a mystery. That for 400 years they lived a certain way in an area that had actually been occupied by them for perhaps 10,000 years. And yet suddenly they left. They didn't simply pack up and go. They didn't even pack up. There's many, many stories, even about some of the kivas still being filled, about something that happened that almost overnight would cause them to leave. A big mystery. There have been all manner of conjecture of what that would be, and now I tell you what historians are starting to figure out. There were signs of massive drought. The water was going away. The streams were going away. There was no rain for 3 years. Dear ones, this was a cycle change in weather. They had not seen it before, like you have not seen it before. In their civilization of the 400 years, they had never seen this. Perhaps it was a 1,500-year cycle. They would never have known. And the reason they left, they had to. They can't even carry food if they don't have the strength of having to hydrate themselves. And so there was that which the chief, if you want to call it that, the one in charge, the shamans all said, it's over, we're leaving. And they did. A classic story of a cycle that surprised them. A cycle that they really should have known was coming, but didn't believe it, even though the seers and the readers had told them. It was in the field. One of the reasons it was so sudden is because of the stubbornness of their government, if you even want to call it that, of their council, who said, we do not believe this is coming. For 400 years, we've never had this. Therefore, it won't be there. This is the same with the energy shift, even for those who are esoterically minded right now. The energy is shifting in the way people react, in the way you think, what you do. And the energy, even of thought, is starting to change for you. Healers feel it. We have spoken of it. New things are occurring that will change the way you do wonderful things. When I said healers feel it, we have spoken of this before. When many of the old processes that worked forever don't work. And the healer takes it to themselves and say, what am I doing wrong? They'll even think they're being punished because that's the programming of the day. When you have a program that says you don't belong here and that you're born dirty, that means that everything you do is being judged. Therefore, if something goes wrong, you caused it. That's programming, and that is not the truth. Why is Kryon here? To tell you in your magnificence to relax with these changes that are occurring, but be aware of what they are, because some of you are building walls. Wall building seems to be a pastime, and you don't even know it. You don't realize the amazing changes of what you do that create certain kinds of things that never did before. Psychologists will tell you that if something happens or you're worried, or it's a life worry, let's say, or there's something ongoing all the time, or perhaps it's fresh, that something has happened, that when you carry these wounds or these worries, And if you will simply talk them out and talk to others and talk to this, then eventually you'll talk them away. Or perhaps others will help you and justify and whatever. That is the psychology of the day. You get help. Now I'm here to tell you something. Whatever it is that bothers you right now, that you have carried for more than a month or two, as long as you verbalize it, you're building a wall brick by brick that's going to keep you right there. Because that is the energy of consciousness. The more you discuss a negative thing, such as worry, consternation, wringing your hands, or being wounded because of unjust things that happened and you want to tell everybody you know every time you meet them. Hi, my name is. Did you know what happened to me? You're building a wall, and that wall gets then cemented, and then the cement dries, and you're never going to get through it. And the things you're worried about, you'll always be worried about. The energy is new. And so what it says is to take those things and imagine that instead of perpetuating them to everyone you know in hopes that you will be able to dissipate them, as many say you can, I want you to ask an indigenous what they did. Master psychologists, they were. They had ceremony for worry. And whatever it was you were worried, you might want to wrap it in a leaf or something that was Gaia and then burn it. Somehow dispose of it, because the energy was this. Gaia, as your helper, had the wisdom of the ancestors and would see these things eliminated, going up in smoke. You had released them, and you're on to other things. Now, the things you worry about may still be in the ethers in the field, but the fact you're not building a wall anymore means you zip through it. You see this? And you step ahead. I want you to examine your lives for a minute. How many of you are here and for years you've been worried about the same thing? Your wall is big. It's not too big, dear ones, because consciousness is energy and can blast through that so easy as long as you understand, oh, that's me. Oh, that's me. The biggest issue that you might have, again, as a habit, is how do I drop the worry? I'll tell you, this is where the maturity starts to come in from everything you've learned, where you can rest yourself in the hands of Spirit and know you're taken care of. And you don't have to do this yourself. And you don't have to share things that bother you on and on to everyone you meet. You can dissolve these things and actually get resolution if you stop talking about them. That is a new energy. And that is the way it's starting to work, dear ones. That's a challenge to some. That's why I'm here. Spirit loves you so much that it wants to tell you the pitfalls of habits, programming, so you'll know what they are. Many of them subconscious. Nothing wrong with you. You've done this. This is the way you were trained by you, your parents, your culture. This is the way it worked. But it doesn't now. Let those who look at you see joy, not problem. When you talk to them, talk about them about joy, not problems. This is the new energy. This is the change. This is the cycle before you. One of many cycles. Just one of many. But one you needed to hear. And so it is. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. The biggest invisible thing that you're not here by accident and that God loves you. You can call God the creative source. You can call God Spirit if you don't like the word God. But there is a Creator. Over 80% of the planet knows this, is part of organizations that claim this, that believe that there is life of some kind after death. It is an intuitive, monotheistic belief of the planet that you were created. And as you sit in the chair, you have the choice to decide about that Creator. Is it love? Is it accident? And what is the relationship? We're here to tell you, as we have every single time we channel, that the relationship is love. That you were born magnificent and it goes from there. Free choice, an invisible aspect, guides your life into that energy you wish. But standing next to you are all manner of invisible attributes that have their hands out. There are so many. One of the largest ones I have brought to you from the very beginning. You might say, scientifically, it's the core of epigenetics, and that is this, that the body is listening to what you are saying. And the body listens in two ways. The body is aware of your attitude and what you say from day to day. Believe it or not, that attitude emulates to the body who you think you are. And so if you carry an attitude that says you're nothing and never will be, the body cooperates. That is how powerful you are. But the other way that it listens is the way that we have taught you before. An invisible force, if you wish. Force. Like every cell had an antenna listening to that force. And that was the consciousness of the human being, informing the body what it wants. We've even described it as consciousness homeopathy, where a little goes a long way and the cells listen to you. And we've told you that consciousness is energy. That has now been proven on your planet, and it has changed so many things, a lot of thinking. If consciousness is energy, then there may be rules of consciousness. And if there are energetic rules of consciousness, one of them might be that it is focusable. And that is in your body. Your body is listening. Every cell is aware. This is an invisibility, not taught necessarily in the places you'd expect it to be. But more and more are starting to realize that you can shape your own existence, that which is health for you. You can change the scheme, if you want to say that, of how fast and profoundly your body ages. If you do nothing, we have told you the body goes on automatic. Without direction, without focus, without intent. The body freewheels. It's out there. And it listens to all that is around it, that tells it how old it is and the drugs it should take and how long it'll last. That is Kryon from the beginning. But dear ones, in the last years, there has been another invisibility. This one is difficult to teach. This one is beyond the scope mostly of logic. This is the one that is controversial. This is the one that might even be laughed at. and it deals with the field. The idea that consciousness and the energy of it is all around you from the potentials that is developed from it. I'm going to give you an example. A simple metaphor. There are many doors in your life as you walk around. One door has a person standing behind it who is angry, has his hand on the doorknob, it's about to open. There's another door. It's a woman holding food. She's been to the store. Her hand is on the knob. It's about to open. There's another door. That door has something that is actually happening at the moment. It's an accident happening at the moment. It's another door. It's the love of your life. He, she has the hand on the door. Question, are they real? In this metaphor, in this puzzle, they are. Picture it in real life. Is that an impossibility to have those things around you? And the answer is no, that is not an impossibility. In fact, it's very probable. Each one of those examples is a consciousness that has energy. We've told you this before, that when you go to a theater perhaps alone or with someone else, and you sit down next to an unknown person and you feel something that makes you want to move. That is a consciousness that literally is felt by you because it's energy. They're unbalanced or they're ill. And without knowing them or seeing them, you move. And that is you sensing something in the field. You're already experiencing these things, dear ones. This is an invisible, beautiful tool. Human beings can sense what's in the field. Some will call this intuition. It's part of it, but it's not all of it. Now, to add to this puzzle, dear ones, now you put the glue together. There's something called coherence. Coherence would be that which is a confluence of togetherness or a synchronization of consciousness of like kind. It's created perhaps when you get together in a group like this, when those would pray together or sing together, for music creates these kinds of things. Or perhaps even now, a channeling, where you realize that what you're hearing is dripping with the love and the purpose of God to you. I was giving you the potentials in the field, because one of those doors behind one was an ill pope and another one about to take his place. Is that prophecy when I'm giving you what's in the field already? It's potentials. Now back to those doors. You're sitting there with a confluence of coherence, with things that suit you, things that are filled with purpose for you. And you are then able to sense the doors that are about to open. You're not going to go near the one with the angry person or the accident that is happening. And you'll be motivated perhaps to the love or the food or survival. But there won't be any question. And if you could pick a road perhaps that led to the situation behind the door, you'd know. And it's not fortune telling, and it's not even being psychic. It's practical, because you are sensing what is, not the future, and making a decision about where you're going based upon what is. what is happening. It's difficult to describe, because there would be those who say, well, it hasn't happened yet. That's telling the future. That's not correct. It has happened, in that those on the other side of the doors are a consciousness. And that consciousness, just like the one you sat next to in the theater, is that which you can pick up. That's invisible. That's you creating your reality. Beyond talking to yourselves, I just gave you the secret to creating a reality that is yours, meeting the right people, having airplanes that work or not, knowing things that perhaps others don't, because you can sense what's behind the consciousness of the potential. And then there is the question, okay, you've got my interest, Kryon. I don't seem to have this. And that's where I'm going to tell you, you don't have it because you don't believe it. You don't have it because someone has either told you it doesn't exist or talked you out of it, or have told you that it belongs only to those who are strange or odd, it cannot exist. Did you know that biologists have already named it entrainment? Where biology seems to, for no reason at all, synchronize together with other individuals in a scenario that is unexplainable. It's already known. And this is the next step. What if there were an invisibility that lets you sense what to do next, that makes sense for you to avoid the accident, to make sure you're at the right place at the right time, or to open the door and meet love? Dear ones, the Creator has given you this, and in this new energy, it's becoming sharpened. Last night, I sat before the sisters. It's beautiful to sit in front of the females who carry the energy of compassion and teaching and sacredness and shamanship. And in their Akash, they're feeling it and they know it. It's beautiful to sit in front of humans who are the teachers of humans. And I told them that a flower is opening. It's a wonderful example, especially to the women. A flower is opening with the essence of reality that heretofore seemed to be that which was not real. The essence of the flower is the realization that perhaps some of these things are true, available, doable, and perhaps even something you could examine. This ability to rise from your chair and sense what is there is available to all humanity all the time. It's a sharpening of intuition. Some of you have to practice in order to understand what it feels like. But once you start, you realize it's there, it's real. There are so many, even in this room, who would listen and come, who have said, I can tell you the stories that Kryon is right, that I felt something that either brought me to the chair today or took me to a person where I had a healing, and it was beautiful. And you start to realize this is a life practice that will keep you in a beautiful place for a very long time. Control over the things that you thought were uncontrollable. It's invisible, it's the field, it's real, it's consciousness, it's energy. And it's here. Old soul, I've said it before, it's available to you first because you have the tools to use it. Your Akash rings with the wisdom of understanding these words. Your Akash rings with a maturity that says, Kryon's right. And you will then teach the others, the new ones, of the ability that has always been theirs. And there's more. Invisible things come with the love of God and purpose, and it's the reason why you're so magnificent. And now you're starting, perhaps, to understand why we say what we say about a better humanity that is coming. We leave it there. But there's more. There's always more. Go from this place changed. And so it is.